Welcome to Pimpy's Investment Chat, where we keep investment talk simple. And here's your host, Pimpy.
What is going on out there, peeps? Okay, earlier Nader did a video, and he made a comment that caught my attention. He said that while Iraq is like 1,000 times richer than Kuwait. So let's clear this up just a little bit. At this current moment, per capita, Kuwait is much richer than Iraq. But what I'm about to talk about proves that Iraq has potential to be much, much richer than Kuwait and could have a much more valuable currency than a Kuwait dinar. All right, so let's get into this, shall we? So this is a video where Nader is responding to the, he calls him professor, but he's a professional financial advisor from Merrill Lynch. And I don't know how much credence you want to take into that, but Nader was commenting on this and he brought Kuwait up. So let's hear what Nader has to say.
How much Iraq has and how much red is and all that. You look at Kuwait. Kuwait doesn't have anything. No agriculture, have a little bit of tourism. Kuwait, when Kuwait hits your mind, hits anybody's mind. Never. Almost never. We don't talk about, you don't hear about Kuwait. Here's the thing though. Iraq is more richer than Kuwait. It's 1,000 times richer than Kuwait. Of course, because it's bigger than Kuwait. The dinar is was based on oil and gas, always. That's why it was so strong. It was badly based on...
I know you can't hear him, but what he's saying is the dinars are based on oil and gas always.
Oil and gas, and gold. And that's why you're going to be strong again.
Okay, so Nader is stating that Iraq is 1,000 times richer than Kuwait. I've done a side-by-side comparison, good Lord, it had to been a year and a half, 2 years ago, showing everybody that what makes Kuwait such a rich nation, Iraq absolutely has a lot more of, but what's keeping Iraq behind is the following. Kuwait is richer than Iraq. So, economic overview of Kuwait and Iraq. So here are the things that people should pay attention to because this should make you feel good about investing into the Iraqi dinar. That's why when I post these videos about these experts coming out saying the dinar will never revalue. No, it's not that it will never revalue. Most of the points that they use as a reason it won't revalue are actually reasons that the dinar has not revalued yet. So let's get into this. First of all, let's look at the economy. Kuwait is considered to be one of the wealthiest countries in the world due to its high income economy, which is primarily based on oil reserves. Okay, well, Iraq has oil reserves. The country has a small, relatively open economy with proven crude oil reserves estimated at 101.5 billion barrels, accounting for approximately 6% of the global reserves. Kuwait's economy is heavily reliant on oil exports, with petroleum accounting for nearly half of the GDP and 95% of export revenues. Gee, where does that sound familiar? So does Iraq. But for some reason, when the oil prices fluctuate like they do, it doesn't affect Kuwait the same way it does Iraq. And there's a reason for that. So you can see right here, although Kuwait has 101.5 billion barrels and are sixth in the nation, look at this. Iraq is the second largest crude oil producer in OPEC after Saudi Arabia. So Iraq has the fifth largest, where Kuwait is the sixth largest amount of oil reserves. Although Kuwait has 101.5 billion barrels, Iraq has 145 billion barrels. So they have a lot more oil than Kuwait does, making Iraq technically richer in oil. But here's the thing that gets me. They have more than this. I know for a fact. They have not announced the finding of oil in a specific part of the desert, and it's driving me crazy why they have not brought this up. Once they make this announcement, I'm going to tell you right now, they will easily become the number one when it comes to oil reserves. Easily the number one. So they have not announced it yet, but Iraq is representing 17% of provided reserves in the Middle East and 8% of global reserves. Again, keep in mind, this is good and all, but there's more to this process we'll get into in a minute. I'm just proving to you what Nader was saying is technically right, but there's some hurdles there. On the other hand, Iraq, while also possessing significant oil reserves, has faced numerous challenges due to decades of conflict, economic sanctions, and political instability. We speak about this all the time. They just can't get their crap together. Nor do I think their politicians want them to get their crap together. Because everything is in chaos, this allows them to steal from the Iraqi people and make themselves rich. So they're in no hurry to fix things. It's just like the Democrats here in the United States, all right? Now, having said that, there's something about al-Sudani who seems to be doing everything he can to bring prosperity to the Iraqi people. I will give him credit. I was one of the people that didn't have any faith in him whatsoever, only because he is a Maliki sidekick. Maliki groomed him, made him the politician that he is, and I thought he would continue to do Maliki's bidding. And because of that, I didn't have any faith in him. I was wrong. So far, so good. But I don't want to count my chickens before they hatch. Despite having the 5th largest proven crude oil reserves in the world, Iraq's economy has struggled to fully capitalize on the resources due to ongoing security concerns and internal conflicts. So Nader's right. When it comes to oil, Iraq has so much more than Kuwait does. And Kuwait relies on their export of oil to make their country rich. The difference between Kuwait and Iraq is Kuwait has other things bringing money into their country besides oil. They have things they can fall back on, not to mention what I'm about to show you here. GDP and income disparities. In terms of GDP per capita, Kuwait significantly outperforms Iraq. According to the World Bank data, Kuwait had a GDP per capita of approximately $29,000 in 2019, while Iraq was $5,000 for the same year. This is really bad. That's per capita, the wealth. The substantial disparity reflects the stark contrast in economic development and wealth disbursement between the two countries. Where Kuwait does share the wealth with the citizens, Iraq was not doing that. This substantial difference in GDP per capita clearly indicates that Kuwait is wealthier on a per-person basis than Iraq. Now, even though that's true, that does not mean that Iraq can't turn around, get their crap together, because if they did, they would easily smash Kuwait. Infrastructure and development. Kuwait has invested heavily in infrastructure development, education, and healthcare, contributing to higher standard of living for its citizens. That is one of the biggest problems for Iraq. They were not doing that. They have money for all these projects for infrastructure and have never implemented the projects to start doing the necessary thing to get the infrastructure going. A lot of grants were given to corrupt people. They took the money, started projects, and never finished. A lot of projects were abandoned. So the way they were going about business was old school style. That allowed a lot of these people in power to be corrupt and steal the money. Right now, there's a lot of steps being taken to monitor the money a lot closer than before to capture those people who are corrupt. And it seems like it's starting to work, but it's just taking time. We know that Iraq wants to start on infrastructure. They want to develop more hospitals. They want to develop more schools so that they too can have a higher quality of life. The country has a modern amenities and is well-developed public sector that provides various social services. In contrast, Iraq has struggled to rebuild its infrastructure and public services following years of conflict and instability. Kuwait is undoubtedly richer than Iraq due to its higher GDP per capita, significant oil reserves, and more stable economic conditions. Sure, Kuwait is, because they got their act together. Their economy is strong. There's prosperity over there for the Kuwait people, unlike Iraq. The point being that if Iraq can just get their shit together, start doing the same thing that Kuwait did, fix their infrastructure, develop education and healthcare, so that they too can contribute to a higher standard of living. Once that starts to happen and the Iraqi people are becoming prosperous as well, you're going to see Iraq pass up Kuwait as far as being a rich nation. So when all these people out there saying, no, it will never happen, you can understand why they're saying it. After decades of Iraq screwing over their people is why there's so many people out there saying this will never happen. I'm saying to you, it can happen. I'm also saying to you, these are the things that Iraq needs to do in order to hit the same status as Kuwait. I don't like comparing apples to oranges. I said this before. Sure, they're both fruit, but they're two different types of fruit. Kuwait's got their act together, We need Iraq to do the same thing. So when these experts come out and say the Iraqi dinar will never revalue, I don't believe that. I don't believe that at all. We just need the right people in power to make it happen for the Iraqi people. Anyways, that's it for now. I appreciate you guys tuning in. I'll catch you later. I'm out.